Hello everyone and welcome back. I know everybody was expecting to see Leslie's beautiful smiling face here today, but I am honored to be here. A little bit about myself. My name is Brenda Lakey. I am actually the National Sales Director of Blueco Brands, Barbicide, but I am also a licensed cosmetologist. And I have been in this industry, I'm going to show my age now, for over 35 years. I worked in a salon for over 20 of those years before I did some other things and came to work for Barbicide. So we are doing an on-site interview today, which is so exciting, and I am so honored to be here with Robert and Mary Cromeans.
Hi, baby.
I have to say, I am a little starstruck. Robert, I've seen you so many times on stage, and we talked about this a little earlier. But I just said I've never been this close to you. So
We've never been in the bar at a show then.
That's questionable. I'm sure I have.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you for inviting us into your beautiful salon and doing this with us today. We've been doing different interviews, people in the industry, and I have a lot of friends that, as yourself, salon owners, and we've talked a lot about how this has really changed the way we do business in the salon. And that's something I'd kind of like to touch on first. I know you have 2 salons here in San Diego and 1 in Oklahoma City. So not only are you dealing with, 3 different businesses, but 2 different states as well. And what we know in this industry, and unfortunately, things can differ quite a bit from state to state.
I think it's a fair statement, and the good thing for all of you watching, we're in California, which has got the highest compliance rate of any other state, from increasing minimum wage to other labor laws. So if you can keep, those things in a row in your business, it really helps. So I love that we go through this type of, speculation from the government. We changed a word that was common in our industry, commission. Mm-hmm. It's illegal in California. So I have to pay people hourly wages. So it's a very different, transparent time, which I believe for hairdressers out there. Commission says, I'm going to pay you, think back to one of your jobs perhaps, I'm going to pay you 50%. Mm-hmm. And you call your loved ones at home and get 50%, and they say, of what? And you say, I don't know. So 50% sounds wonderful, but sometimes a hairdresser like my beautiful wife here would work 60 or 70 hours a week. So if you really broke down what you were making, I'm just saying it wasn't transparent, it wasn't clear. So I look at compliance as a learning tool, much like we're looking at this incredible epidemic. Are there things that we can learn? Absolutely. And I think this is the commonality. And, no disrespect to anybody watching this, but anybody who owns a salon before this epidemic, every piece of knowledge you had is about useless to you. Everything moving forward puts us all on the same level playing field. We're all in the same ship, isn't the term, but we're definitely in the same torrid ocean. So we're all learning how to adapt, and I think there's some great things that we've seen as benefits, but we're also being realistic to the things that are hurting our business and having a large impact on salons, whether it's closures. It's a reshifting of the kind of polar caps. So I would just say that the one thing we also have is I've got a beautiful wife who's also in the industry. We both work here. She's a top performing stylist, so she's the example to live up to.
Thanks.
And
aw, that's so nice.
Just to put it in perspective, hairdressers have been working too hard for too long, and I'm not Jimmy Hoffa trying to make you money. But we did a thing called stacking and racking that really became apparent in the 50s when people roller set, and they put clients under the dryer. And sometimes if you looked at salons, then they had 34 hoop dryers if you're a big salon. And the reality of that pace is soon brought in precision cutting. We picked up a new pace, but it was still about squeezing and triple booking and doing things like that. And as an industry, we started not to perform because we were seeing so many clients, taking them for granted, take it for granted, take it for granted, take it for granted. And then suddenly we slowed the pace down, not because we wanted to. The mystic gods got involved in our universe, and suddenly our businesses were forced to slow down. It's like air traffic control. So because of that, we started working differently. We started having fewer clients with more meaning. And as a result, what my wife used to do was 6 paying guests in a day, now does in 3, also has a lunch break, takes a break after, I think, doing sanitizing, Barbicide and everywhere.
Yeah.
This is a luxury for celebration of the client who risked her life to be here today. and to the hairdresser that has worked far too hard, working on a system that they never created, doing stacks and stacks of clients, never knowing their name, never selling retail, never rebooking, never doing all these things we've advised people to do to be successful, because the excuse was, I don't have the time, I don't have the time. Well, hey, Jesus loves you, you now have time. So for my wife, who's a brilliant lady, to have lunch, she's the happiest lady ever in the world. So she's given better service.
No more hangry.
So it's lifestyle driven, and that's what I want for every hairdresser, to be happy in a lifestyle that you love, a mix between what else turns you on. For us, it's education. Some people it's raising their kids, being at ball games. I don't care what it is. Hairdressers realized there's a lifestyle that they need, and I think that's an exciting time of what we've learned so far just from this, 5, 6, 7 months of lockdown. It's been incredible.
That is such a great perspective. Years ago, somebody once said to me, for every crisis, there's always an opportunity. And I think this has given people, not only in our industry, but in life, a great opportunity to kind of take a step back and think about what's important, what's important to us. And I think that is so great. One of the things that I am hearing from a lot of stylists is like, they're so worried about revenue because, I used to always double book, I would have, 2 colors going at the same time all the time because I have to do that. And I said, well, then maybe it's time to raise your prices and charge what you're worth.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I feel like we had a big learning curve for us in our salons where we have 5 elements of stylists in our salon, and in both our salons actually. And we realized that although one of our stylists may have been promoted to a higher element, they did not bring their guest with them. So they were discounting and charging less than what they were worth and less than what they have earned, and they weren't making the revenue, so therefore they would have to double book to compensate. And just having that fear, so many hairdressers have that fear of, if I raise my prices, I'm going to lose my guests. And actually, to some degree, you want to lose your guests. You want to shake some of them loose that are paying the old prices so you can make room for new guests that are paying your higher prices. Also for us, so we didn't actually raise our prices in our salon after COVID. We didn't implement a sanitation fee, but when we looked across the board at what everybody was charging, we realized we had some stylists that were 2 elements higher than what they were actually charging. So we had to have the long conversation. Our reservationists, when they were calling all of the guests, they just treat them all like brand new guests, remind them what price and element that their stylist is in. This is what the price is going to be for your hair when you come in, Brenda, for your highlights, your haircut. We also realized that people weren't charging for all of the services that they were giving. So absolutely. I'm sure all of you ladies here, maybe Robert, you brought me a picture before. You've had a picture. Most of our guests have an Instagram picture they're going to show us. And oftentimes that Instagram picture, because it's just one flat Stanley picture, people just think it's magic. I just saw it pop up on my newsfeed. But in reality, you have to find out that that was a full highlight, it was a shadow root, there was a toner, there was a treatment, sometimes a pre-treatment and a post-treatment, that makes 2. Well, absolutely. Oftentimes stylists aren't telling the guest ahead of time what it's going to entail to have that picture. If you want to look like this, you used to get a single process and that was this much money. You want to have this, which is 5 services, it's going to be this much money. So that disconnection, we really have been able to bridge the gap, and I think that's been very helpful so that while we are slower and we are servicing 1 guest at a time, our average ticket has been bigger than ever. Really, some of the stylists, $100 to $200 higher
that's
than
amazing.
Ever before. And not because we're raising the prices and gouging people, but just charging for every single thing that we do. And I think as our hairdresser hearts and souls get involved, we always feel guilty, or they won't pay for that. And it's like, no, they will. They're not coming to your salon because they think they're going to get it for free. They're coming to get the hair of their dreams. And there's a price attached to it. So I think that it's our job as hairdressers to it's been a great opportunity, like you said, to go back to basics, really hone in on the consultation, talk to your guests about their goals, their limitations, what that service entails. It's not our guest job to really say like, oh, I bet this is going to take 5 steps in 3 hours rather than 1 step in an hour and a half. They don't know. It's not their job to know, but it is our job to educate them and let them know what it entails, how much money it's going to cost, what the expectation is going to be for how long they're going to sit in the salon, how much they're going to pay, when they need to come back again, what the maintenance of that new color or cut is going to be, and how they're going to care for it at home. So it really takes it away from just being like, hey, Brenda, oh, how were your highlights last night? Good, we'll do that again. You just have to start fresh with everybody. And it's really given us a clean slate to be the hairdresser we want to be and really service the most ideal guest that sits in our chair. Some people may just want to do great touch-ups all day long, which is totally fine. Or maybe someone wants to do a haircut every single hour. But some people may want to do, you know, my ideal guest is a great coverage guest that wants dimension and gets highlights. I'm going to tone it because she wants a particular shade in there. I'm going to give her treatments because she likes to have her hair feeling super soft. She wants me to blow her hair dry. I want my guests to want everything from me. So I'd rather do a lot more on like per person and do less people than do like 500 people just doing one thing at a time for me, for my preference. But
well, the one thing, I'm an industry coach, so I study numbers. People wouldn't look at me as a numbers guy, but I'm quite deceptive. So there's a thing called ratio. In salon, when we think of gray hair, what's the ratio of gray hair? You're mixing color, the ratio is equal parts. There's a ratio of service we do as an industry. The ratio of service before COVID was 1.1 service per guest. So for you to really have a victory with 10 guests, if I was to tell you at 1.5 and a 2.0 service per guest, your income doubles. So you don't need 10 anymore, you just need 5 who love you. So let's get to this, 5 who love you and 5 you love back. Because as hairdressers, we can't say for the ones we're seeing that we love them all. So it's a time to really settle in on the client you love that loves you back. How many times they're going to see you is also a critical one. But to me, the data of the industry tells me that these things are true because it's not about what we're feeling here in San Diego. I study through Millennium, they've got 25,000 users. I got the data to prove that our industry's been guilty of racking in, making donuts, and failing on the things that make you retain a clientele, create a reputation as a hairdresser, a retailer. So it's kind of like, you know, how many people don't go work out? Well, I never have the time. You do now, fatty, you know, it's just one of those things. So I just think that now we've been given as people of anything that you're into that we've got a little more time on our hands to manage ourselves differently. And I would just say that for me to see a gain as a coach of $100 per guest, and even in our younger store with sort of younger stylists that maybe don't have an average ticket like Mary's at $320, but with multiple services, any price will build into a great ticket. We have Paul Mitchell schools. They may charge $12, $14 for a haircut, but if you really experience the menu, you get your haircut, you get a highlight, you get a treatment, you get a toner, a smoky root, whatever it is you call it, you can leave with a $100 ticket. So this is something I want you to realize, no matter where you live, no matter what you charge, it's not about how much you charge. Forget about that. Think about the average per guest. So if you're charging $40 for a haircut and your average ticket is $41, you've got homework to do. How do you talk about color passionately? How do you get involved with upselling the treatment? These are simple things. And now that you're not seeing so many, focus in on really fewer clients, more meaning. That is the trick to it. My wife's a great example. You'll be happier, you'll be healthier, and you'll actually make more money, not by seeing the masses, really honing into what do you want to do all day? What's the type of people you want to hang out with? What type of hair you want to do? And once you find that, you'll be the happiest hairdresser in the universe, being compensated better than you ever did. Just one client at a time is how you do this. It's a beautiful opportunity, especially if you're a young stylist in here. And the whole industry is rebuilding. So what we're seeing right now, and I want to get into safety, because I think this is something that obviously brings you guys here. As remembering going to beauty school, Barbicide's like the big bad wolf. You're like, no, use the Barbicide. It's kind of like for us in school, we're going to state board one day and they put the fear of God into you that if you don't do it, if you're at state board, just make sure you use the Barbicide. It's like, whoa, it's like holy water. We got this thing here. But to me, when hairdressers were busy, people leave salons. Number one reason people leave salons dirty. Isn't that ironic? Not bad highlights, just they can see the filth. Which means on that pace that we were on before, were we really cleaning up, doing the things?
Were we waiting our 10 minutes for our Barbicide?
We do a round brush wrap. Once we've barbicided it, once we've washed it, barbicided, we rewrap it in saran wrap. So when I used to do it on your hair, I open it up right in front of you. It's like opening up an iPhone. That's to give the clients visibility to what we're doing to keep them safe. So one thing I want to commend the whole industry, and Barbicide was a huge proponent of this, and we got licensed or certified quite early on. But in fact, to get a hairdresser to do one thing differently is almost impossible, and we adapted 14 new protocols of safety. We've got curbside waiting, we've got a temperature check coming in for both the employees and of course the wonderful guests. Every little thing, we're touch-free now. There's no money changing hands.
No cash, cashless.
Cashless business. We've got so many efficiencies. We used to have a full-time staff here running around pouring glasses of water and coffee. I'm not Starbucks. That was costing me 5% of my business to run all this shit. Let's not talk about the magazines, the trees I've crucified on having just 4 copies of the People magazine. If you don't have a computer in your lap to read this shit, please, I can't help you. This is not a dentist office.
I love it.
So we become more efficient on things that we were indulging, adding all these layers, and now I don't have coffee in the building. There is no cucumber, butterfly water. We brought it down to a more efficient business. And you know, I had a client today that I haven't seen for a number of years. She's with a prior staff member, and she said, I loved it in here today because it feels like, you know, the old days is a hustling and bustling. Now it's about well-placed clients with enough distance so you feel cool that people are here, but you're not lap dancing one another. When I first built this space, every 43 inches another station, every 43 inches another station, so people were on top. I then came in and removed them and created 6, 7 feet apart, put these great partitions in. This isn't because I'm working for the, you know, the COVID prevention board. Because of the optic of a client, these are the things necessary. So if we talk about highlights of what's going on, we're getting more new requests in our salon today than ever before. Because the word on the street is we went above and beyond the gold standard of safety.
And all 3 salons are getting that, even in Oklahoma City.
So for the hairdressers out there that are doing it, that are wearing your mask, if you don't wear a mask while you're at work, you're a mask hole. I'm just telling you that this is things we do to create the optic for the client. I don't care what you believe. I'm just saying to make my client feel good. Think of the airlines. For your safety, put on your seatbelt. For your safety. This is for their safety. And if somebody comes to the salon, even to see me, the great Robert Cromeans, and their temperature is above 99. What they're supposed to be, they will be turned away from the business. We've created a cancellation policy we've never had in the past. And it's a 2-way one that if we call in hungover on you, we'll give you a 50% discount. So the reality is we are changing things. We're embracing technology more than ever before. And I just think that in the future, you're going to see a lot more self-checkout. So it's not waiting in line at the desk. That's another touch point we don't really need. We have a call center, which means if you call my salon right now to make an appointment, hopefully somebody would answer the phone.
Yes, they will. Jane
2 of my reservationists don't live in San Diego. One lives in Colorado. What is the other one? Montana. I work with a supercut chains, and they said that they have outsourced some call information to India. You could move it anywhere. So you could go to a state with lower labor costs. But my point is, if there was talented people wanted to work in your organization, by using technology, we can go further. So this industry has been forever changed because the resistance of using technology for us was not normal.
Exactly, that's a very valid point.
The computer for years, you know, nobody wanted anything until the iPod came along. Hairdressers went apeshit for iPad. Then they wanted to play with technology, finally. So between computers, software, digital consultations, this is the new way. Because that's not transparency. We talked about it in payroll. What about being transparent with the client on the price? And if you're going to charge somebody $300, you better, the authoritative manner to communicate to them. Because you can't send like Forrest Gump and go, I'm going to do here, that'll be $300. You've got to send like an expert. And that means research and home play and studying products and knowing ingredients and being a servant to the heart. This is the chance hairdressers have. And you know, for some of our clients, they're paying more, but they seem more grateful. You know, since we reopened, we've been getting bigger gratuities than ever before. We call it Christmas tips. Every day is Christmas right now. The clients appreciate it, and they see the difference on me not having 16 people going, haven't had lunch, haven't been to the bathroom, haven't had a drink of water. Don't catch me without a cigarette. Hell no. You're getting baby bangs. So for me, find your happy spot, work with it, honor the safety protocols. I think it's critical no matter what it is, and think of just your safety for everybody that they're in touch with. And I think it's part of your job. So where other people get to go to crazy barbecues and shit, you don't get to go because of your profession. I just think this is something you got to understand. You got to protect lots of people. And as long as we're safe and our environment is safer than any other business, I think people can come and experience the salon, and we will rebuild. So we've had clients, remember in the big debate, we're essential. Guess what? We find out we're not. There was people with acrylic nails that have been doing it every 2 weeks for a lifetime, and then they got used to not doing it. They broke the habit. There are people that are choosing to go gray because they don't think it's that bad after all. It's a lifestyle. People are in it, going places, being seen, and I'm just saying we have seen that. I am, some people want to do the half mask. Everybody wants to mess with the rules. This is we've got a zero tolerance here.
Yeah.
And I don't care if I own the place. I don't care whose name is on the door. We honor it. The clients honor it. Client comes in with a hoagie, thinks she's going to eat lunch. No, she's not. We've had a few clients try to break the law on all these protocols, right? Any good ones there?
No, just a couple. Like, no, well, I don't feel I don't want to wear my mask. And it was a guest of ours who we love, and she's like, okay, well, then, and our salon director said, well, unfortunately, I can't have you in the salon because there's, this is our rule. This is what the standard is, and there's other guests in the salon at the same time. So, when you're ready, call us back, and you will have to wear your mask appropriately over your nose and mouth. And she's like, no, well, I'm just gonna wait till all this blows over. And sure enough, like a week later, she was like, I don't think there's ever an end in sight. I need my hair done. And so sure enough, she came in with her mask on very proudly. And
and the last time I was in the salon getting my hair done, probably not the last time, shortly after they opened back up, I was checking out, and the gal who does my hair, walked me up, and we were just chatting, and the receptionist was kind of whispering to her, and I know her, the owner, quite well, and she said, well, this is a longtime client of mine that canceled all of her appointments because she doesn't want to wear a mask. And I said, well, you will gain another client. I said, I wouldn't worry about her. I said, furthermore, for me personally, I don't care what you tell me I have to wear. I will be here to get my hair done.
Yeah.
I'm an every 4-week girl, and I will be in your chair. So if that means wearing a mask,
yes,
wear a mask. I said, obviously, it's not that important to her, but it's important to you as a salon owner, and that's what matters.
And
you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, and I feel like I would say 98% of the guests have just been like, I don't care.
Sure.
I'll wear a hazmat suit if you want me to. I don't care. Whatever you want me to wear, as long as you do my hair, just do not close down again. And they've all been so gracious. They're like, this is perfect. Thank you so much we can see how much time and attention and effort and money you put into this. Like, they appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really an inconvenience. And that's the part that's great, because clients are so supportive in general. They just want to support us. They want us to be successful. They want us to be able to do their hair. And so many of the guests, when they came back, like, thank you for making me look human again. Oh my gosh, I feel so much more like myself. Thank you.
Yeah.
Brought my confidence back. And really, that's what it comes down to.
Well, and I had a girlfriend say to me one day, she's like, through this whole quarantine, I have, she's like, look at my gray hair. I haven't had my hair done. She said, it's kind of liberating. And I said, liberating? I said, I don't know. I said, I'm just going to play the devil's advocate here. I'm like, you do what you need to do. I said, but for me, I love that. I love going in every 4 weeks, getting my hair done, feeling good about myself. And I think, so many people haven't felt good about themselves, so they were anxious to get back in and, see their stylist and feel, like you said, feel
and the
human
power of touch. Like, we have, you can't hug anybody, you can't hug your loved ones, can't get massages, facials, any of that stuff. So being able to get your head washed and your hair shampooed and that great head and neck massage, I think we have an incredible opportunity as stylists, again, to, bump up that service of that wash house experience in the sink and how you treat that guest, because so many people, like, for 9 months have not had a massage. They haven't been touched. They haven't had any contact. And
Not you or I, but
not
the
us.
rest of
I
you
am
all.
not neglected. You massage me every night. You're so
That's
good.
my client who has been a loyal patient for years. Ariel was a Sicily today. She's a super young stylist, killing it in here. She shampooed her. My client said, I could stay here all day, just come and unlock the door at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's how much people enjoy this thing. And back to the rushy hairdresser, you're quick with it. You're not giving it as much as it needs. And I'm just saying, it's also a place that we really get down to it. You get to relax. There's no music in there. There's no light in there. You're just into it. You're just getting into
I
that
love
sort
to
of.
shampoo hair, actually. It's good for my soul.
People think the sharpest thing you've got in the salon is the scissors. It's the sink. Because I can build gratuities in the sink, reputation, I can do everything in the sink. Because to me, that is the client's number one thing they love. And a hairdresser that gets busy tends to neglect it. We've always made a big deal about it. People still comment on our experience as being second to none because once you feel it and feel the experience and the fact that it's not being rushed, people could just give you their wallet at the end of that. That's just as simple as that. I'll have a new guest and they come walking out of our area and they're just like sort of staggering, like they're almost unconscious. We're an experienced business. We're not in a technical business. I just think we're in a very experienced part. And I think if you really want to define the success that's capable for every hairdresser, is going that extra level. And especially now, I just think if you could go there in your shampoos, go there when you're styling hair, teach them how to do it, how to put the product in, how to put the iron in, how to put the blow dryer and the round brush together. The more you become a teacher to these clients, they'll take more of you home with them. And the more you become a servant to their needs when they come in, they're going to look forward to being with you, which affects your frequency of visit. So the better the experience, the quicker they return. And I think this is something you better pay a lot of attention to right now, because there's going to be scarcity of guests. So to have a client coming in every 3 months instead of sooner is going to have a huge effect on your business, believe it or not. So I'm just saying, I don't know if we can do this, but I've got a little signage. You can get a close-up for that later. I've got 3 billboards, and there's a movie they made 3 billboards. So in every station, there's 3 billboards. So the first one talks about 4 weeks, is that the one I'm thinking of?
Yeah.
It talks about 4 weeks from today, 6 weeks from today, and these are all accurate to the day. So if I'm doing your hair,
That's amazing. That is great.
the first thing we're going to talk about is when will I see you again? So this affects the frequency of visit. So it's not how many clients you have, it's how many times do they come in. Barbers can see a client 25 times a year. People like you are a great client. You're coming in every 4, I've got a few 3-weekers. They've got incredible frequency of visits. That's what makes them dominant, not the price. It's how many times, because every time you come in, you may buy a bottle of shampoo every time because you're coming in so much, I sell more product. So this is something that's very important just to get people talking about it the next time. And if you're doing platinum cards or different tones, this is going to be key for that transparency of consultation price and how often I'm going to see you. We do a technique called platinum card. It's a solid blonding technique with foil. It can take less than hip surgery, 5 hours. But if you come in when I tell you to, the touch-up is going to be a fraction of the cost.
And a fraction of the time.
And a fraction of the time. So this is, again, getting comfortable as hairdressers, talking about what it costs. I was just thinking about cars. You can go to a parking lot and buy the same car. We could each buy the same, the 4 of us. Depending on how you like your car, it's going to cost anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 different. For the base model to this, they're all the same car. One has a sunroof, moonroof, seat heaters. God, I have seat heaters.
Yeah.
So
Seat heaters in San Diego?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Absolutely. And sometimes with the AC on, but yes.
Yeah, we're extravagant. So I just think that every client deserves an experience, and whether it's the simplest of things, but we've got to really understand that some people really want to go up for that upgrade. They want an upgraded experience. And I think we've got to get better at offering those things, creating new ideas, whether it's the treatment. If Starbucks can have a beautiful pumpkin shit thing going on, we can create something pumpkin-y backstage in our thing to make it extravagant. A couple of years ago, we did something where in the hot summer months, we used Perrier water as a rinse, as your final rinse, and you could feel it bubbling and snap, crackle, and pop. It was incredible. We're creative people. It's not always your scissors. It's what other ways can you make the experience memorable? And I think that's the big part. And the one little message I've been playing with for the industry, there's things we can change right now and the things we cannot change. But the things that we can change, like giving a client a better experience, doing our jobs better in every way, drink coffee, it'll give you energy. And for the shit you can't change, drink tequila. It's just one of those things that's happening to businesses around the world, hairdressers around the world, that these things we talked about quite honestly today are happening. It is a reality. If you've been immune to this, I don't know why you're watching the tape, just to see my butterfly jacket, but everybody in some way, shape, or form has had some type of effect. And I think the thing that we got to look at as an industry is how we pivot from here, and how, adversity is the greatest teacher in the world. And I just think this adversity is creating a clearer mind of what we're trying to do, what's important to the client, what's important to the team. And I just think these are the things that are going to make anybody, no matter where you live, be successful right now. That's what I think.
Such great advice. Wow. And talking about the things that you can change as I'm listening to you, thinking of especially young stylists, but older stylists as well, because we can all change. But that's the one thing we can change. We can change who we are and like you're saying, how you do business. And I think too, it's about, and tell me if you agree, about having that confidence. As a stylist, you have to have that confidence to have those conversations and really lay out what you are going to charge. And to your point as well, now more than ever, when you have the time to do that.
Yeah.
And then,
I
you know,
don't think
not
everyone deserves, sorry to interrupt,
sure.
to like get your hair done and then go up to the desk and have a surprise or sticker shock, and it's just awkward and uncomfortable, and it takes away the whole experience. So I feel like, you know, when we go into a restaurant, you see, I know that maybe most places we don't have our prices listed on a menu per se, because you know everything is add-on and a la carte, but it's my job to let them know. So just like a server that tells you what the special is and how much that's going to cost, I'm going to choose if I would like to pay for that or not.
Right.
So I don't go in thinking I'm going to order it and get it for free. I know that if I order that up, I'm going to get it and I'm going to pay for it. So I don't know why hairdressers tend to be so afraid of talking about money in advance. Like, our guests come in to pay us to do their hair. They're paying us. If they don't pay us, they're going to pay somebody else. So we just really have to kind of get over that hump, if you will. And, you know, the guest deserves to know ahead of time so that they can say, that's great. You know, and a good question that we've always asked during our consultations, especially with new guests or when somebody wants to change, is what did you budget for your hair today, Brenda?
Like that.
Because
That's a
it's
great question.
It's not an awkward conversation. It doesn't say, I don't think you can afford what I'm going to charge you. It doesn't say that I don't think you can pay for that. It just says, what did you have budgeted? And sometimes you may have a delusional budget of, oh, I wanted to get, you know, all this done for $100. Well, then that opens up the door to say, like, either yes, I can do it for this, or no, I can't, or this is what I can do for that price. Or maybe we can't do all of it today, but we could take it on a journey, like a path to enlightenment.
It's like a layaway blonding plan.
Exactly, you know, so I just think it's much more fair to the guest, and then they feel good about what they're getting. They know exactly what they're getting, how much they're paying for, and then also, there's nothing worse than being a stylist and you didn't talk about price. The guest goes up to the front and she doesn't want to pay it. She can't
Run to
pay.
the back room.
And then, you know, maybe the manager does what they need to do to make the guest happy, and they honor a previous price, and then you feel like you worked hard for and didn't get what you thought you were worth.
Yeah.
But it still always goes back to you as the stylist, where you have to set it up. You know, you have to set that up. You can't go and do 15 different things and then expect them to just know that it costs that much. We have to be better about communicating, and I think sometimes we get so excited to do something new, or we just want to talk to our guests because we love them and they're our friends, but in the end it's business, and we need to, you know, there's time to talk about the personal stuff for sure. They're going to be here for a while anyway, but we have to be better about talking about price and engage in that and get it done up front so that everyone can just, you know, you level the playing field and you can move on and do the service and take care of them. I interrupted you. You probably forgot what you were going to say. Sorry.
You said, because we do this all the time, you said exactly what I wanted you to say.
I read your mind.
What did you budget for your hair today? So again, as a younger stylist, you're going to have trouble with words. You're probably a better hairdresser than me, and I've been doing it 35 years, and some people think I'm pretty good. But what I'm really good at is why words. It's how I communicate. It's how I consult with a client. And usually in the fewest amount of words, I'm at a place that we can build on. So I think that it's a rite of passage that you get from really getting more and more experience. You get better and better at controlling the consultation. And I think this is a big factor that people need to understand. And to give you great dialogue, it means you have to practice and rehearse it and study it, whether it's learning about new products, but knowing where you come from. And through that experience, you'll gain the confidence. But, you know, there's nothing like confidence that you really don't know what you're doing, but I'm just going to bullshit my way in. Hello, everybody out there. Hi, that's how I got here. The reality here is you've got to really get in today, because you don't get second chances in this world, especially on Yelp and Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
You do something bad in your town, it will show up on you. So I'm just saying, I think these times more than any other, be transparent with a client. Don't promise more than you can deliver, and deliver more than you promise. And understand this, if anybody ever leaves you for price, it's not that they don't have the money. You weren't wowing them with the experience. I'm sorry to tell you that way. Never would you ever deny the fact that if you're a $40 hair cutter and today it was $50, what was different about you? And you can't tell me I cut the hair better, because that would say I should have got a 10% discount then last time because you were cutting it worse. So it can't be the haircut. What it is the experience. And if that's just sitting down on the chair, having eye-to-eye contact with a client when you're doing a consultation, that makes a difference. So it's a game we play, and depending where you live and what you charge, what type of game do you want to play? And I think this is something that people need to understand, not just at my level and Mary's level. As any young kid coming out here, find like-minded people. If you're a young tattooed wearing kid, find other like-minded, because you will freak out grandmothers. Don't do it. Find the balance of what's out there and start to build and develop your brand and your business. But don't forget you're a servant. You're not a technician. And being a little clearer with the price will help you in the long term, because there's nothing worse when people hide behind the price, and it's not going to build reputation. It's actually going to do the opposite of that. But don't be scared of price, because if you're delivering an exceptional salon experience, people will pay it. I have guests that I've done for 30 years that used to pay 25, now pay 200. I haven't gotten better, I promise you. But my bedside manner is better. The way that I serve a guest is different. Even though you said you've never been this close to me, I'm a platform artist, which means, a whole different experience with somebody, and I'm a pretty good platform artist. But the best Robert Cromeans there is behind this chair today with a paying guest. Because that, to me, is not about, supermodels. It's just, I have retired school teachers, people that are, just phenomenal human beings. One lady she's a beauty of mine. She's got Parkinson's disease. So the first time I cut her hair was just me. She was moving a lot. I cut my finger on her. Her name's Hillary. She's a delightful guest. She's probably can tell you more stories. Just celebrating people. And it's making people feel beautiful. And I think people forget that, especially if you're caught up on Instagram and what's gorgeous. What's gorgeous is happy people that can't believe how good they look. What's gorgeous is people coming back to see you because they can't wait for that next fixative. Instagram's a marvelous tool, and well done that we have it. I don't regret a bit of it. I love Instagram. But I'm just saying, not that it'll ever take our place as long as we're servants, and that we're really connected with the people. And no matter where you live and no matter what you have aspirations of charging, you will be surprised you will get it if you're given an incredible experience. That's what's going to define you. And don't forget to bring in the safety protocols, because that's just as important today as the balance of a haircut or how good your shampoo was.
Microphone drop on that one.
Yes.
Add one.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that it's taken a pandemic for our industry to kind of get up to speed with all of this. But again, like I said earlier, I think that it's been a great opportunity.
Well, and connecting with each other like we're doing today, because I think you guys, one of our staff members in Pacific Beach, she found the certification online first before anybody had seen it, and she told Mary, which then told me, which is always a good idea, because then I'd be telling everybody on everything. So we went through and I cheated on the certification. I think I got a certificate.
You did.
But then we started publishing it, and then suddenly there's a rampage. And I remember not too long afterwards, I see BTC publish the, Barbicide certificate, and I thought, wow, we were on that one, as we were with a lot of these safety features and protocols.
It was so great that Barbicide did that, and then even doing the COVID certification after that one, so having the two, so then we had our team do all the rest of the other one too. So Barbicide was in the forefront. You guys were good.
Yes. Well, thank you. Thank you.
It's good. We had a good time. So, it's kind of easy. We can talk all day. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yes, I would love to sit and talk to you all day.
Sometimes it's hard for one of us to get a word in. Mostly my wife, because I definitely talk. But we did a class this morning. We only had one microphone, so I gave her the whole hour. I didn't even interfere. But we work a lot together. And
is that true, Mary?
It's true. Yeah. No, you are great. You're very gracious towards me. Yes, and I was talking about color, but I do like when you interject. I like that. I was wishing you had the second mic. We had two mics. It didn't work. The second one.
On a show, I interrupt everything. I don't care what
you don't
it is.
interrupt. You carry the whole
I
show.
carry it just the way I connect to. If something's going wrong, I'm going to draw the audience to it. It's just one of those things. I like misdirection. I like audience participation in some ways, and that's the type of platform artist. And as I say, if ever you've seen me at a hair show, you know what I'm talking about. I take incredible risks. I'm pretty quick at it. But do not think that's what goes on behind this chair. This is a love fest of, my son's a young hairdresser right now, and when he first came in to start watching me, assisting me, he said, Dad, you blow me away right now, because everybody thinks you're this, and to see you be a servant to a client, and I have an old lady, her name is Trudy. She's got to be 70, I'm not going to do the Trudy joke, but she's a beautiful lady. She's through quarantine, she's been walking every day, she's lost 30 pounds, she's a retired school teacher, kindergartner. She comes in here, she's got her, we put her all up, I'm doing her hair. she's going to pay $200 for a haircut, and then she tips me $200. And it's just unbelievable that you would not say that doesn't sound very fair, Robert. She's a retired kindergarten teacher. For whatever experience, and it means so much to her. When I walk her through the door, I usually take her out to her car because her husband's there. You'd think I did her hair for free at her house. She can't thank me enough. She appreciates
she
it.
calls back.
She calls the next
salon
day
to say thank you.
that was the best experience. The last time
Yeah.
she was in, we were not so many assistants. I blew dry her hair. I often don't. Somebody else does it. I never usually do the shampoo myself, but I blew her hair. So she was 12 foot tall when she walked out. She could not believe that I had done the whole thing. And it just, that's the wow factor. That's the way clients need to be made feel. And if you do that every day, you won't need advice from Mary and I in the future because it will build your business. That reputation follows. That will get people in your chair. And if you do that to every single person, there's nobody can stop you having the ideal type of job you want, whether you're an owner, a freelancer. It makes no difference to kind of what we're seeing. And then the last thing that I got to bring up, just because I've been watching all this politics,
Oh, geez.
there's something happening in the industry. It's called home hair. People are taking stuff at home. They were doing it through COVID, especially on the second lockdown. And I thought about this for a while. I thought, wow, we should start offering that. And then I thought about the risk factor. Am I really going to send my beautiful wife to some strange neighborhood like she's delivering pizza? No. Then I found a couple of clients that I've seen recently, brand new to the salon, both had bad salon experiences at somebody at a house. A hairdresser came by. See, the problem when the boss isn't watching, the problem when you're not under a thing, you tend to let things slip. Like protocols of safety, like knowing you should do a test strand, sanitation in general. So I'm just saying that for me, if you're going to do hair at home, please be as cautious there as you would if you were working in a salon like mine. This is not something you take for granted because you're making house calls. I'm not judging you if that's the way you want to do your business. I have friends that are professional groomers. I think you guys know her, Deanna Schmicky. She does house calls to Harrison Ford. It must be okay. I am just saying, if you're going to go out there, don't take risks, because if it happens in my salon and something goes wrong, we're insured for it. Okay, we're called liability. The manufacturer's going to stand behind me. These are all things I want you to think about when you're doing it, and as long as you're being safe and doing the smart thing, I would also suggest getting a certain insurance carrier to make you protected, so that if anything did go wrong, you wouldn't be personable liable. You thought
Personally liable.
Thank you. I can't even say
Got
it.
it.
There you go.
Got it.
That was my message to the world.
Be careful.
Well,
Take care of ourselves.
Again, we just can't thank you enough. You have given so much great advice. And again, we're honored to be here. I'm honored to be sitting
That's
next to you. Your salon is beautiful, and yes, your wife is beautiful too.
Yes, I did good.
And just thank you so much for allowing us to come in and do this. We're grateful, very grateful.
Thank you.
And
for
I'm glad
even
we got to be
asking.
on your debut, so congratulations to you. You can
Yes.
use this in your demo tape.